And now, weighing in out of the blue corner, Josh the Punk Thompson. 100%. And on the other mic, he weighs in from the red corner, Big Sean McCarthy.
Well, hello to everyone. It is another edition of the Weighing In podcast with my man, Josh Thompson. We're both getting back from Tacoma, Washington. Beautiful place with beautiful people and everyone coming up and talking to us about how much they love the podcast. It makes you feel good about what we're doing. Thank you to all of the people that came up and talked to us. We had a blast there and cannot wait to go back sometime. Joshua, I know you came home. You had business. You've been busy, but it's time for you to start talking, my man.
My business is talking. That's what we do. So it's been a long weekend. We had Bellator. I had some business to do on Saturday as soon as I landed back, and then here we are today filming the podcast. Kind of had to take some time to sit down and watch all the fights. Have to go back and watch them all. But look, it was overall a good weekend. Some good action, some mishaps, in both main events. I think, in terms of the UFC, having an accident with Aspinall, and then with Bellator, the main event, just not living up to the expectations. It was
what were the expectations, though? You got to think. What were they? You always want action-packed, down and up, but sometimes you can look and you go, if this fight goes the way I think, this is what's going to happen. And both of you and I said, this is what's going to happen.
Yeah. Well, I mean, since I was right all weekend about Jason Jackson wrestling, hey.
And as you were right about Dalton Rasta, too.
Yeah, exactly. I told you,
we'll talk about that one.
I'm always right. All right, well, hey, let's jump right into the fights. What else? There were some other things I was going to talk about.
Really? Were you?
This first. Oh, you're talking about Tacoma, Washington in terms of Bellator. Like when we went, and I'm without talking about the card, you can tell that Bellator needs to go to new places. It needs to go to new venues, new places, all of these things. These fans were starving for MMA.
Yep.
They love, and I gotta be honest.
They were great.
There was a ton of people wearing in podcast shirts.
Yep.
I took a picture with a couple of them, and then I swear every single person was like, it was sold out, but it wasn't a big venue. We know that. But it was sold out. Fights were pretty good. But the people were so great. Everyone, just every time they walked past, can I get a picture? Can I get a picture? Can I? And they were so friendly, so nice. It was great to see a bunch of new fans. And I hope we continue to go to new places. The new place things, you got to build. There's so many fans that are just starving for MMA, whether it's in Omaha, Nebraska, whether it's in Nashville, Tennessee, whether it's in Knoxville, whether it's in Dallas, it doesn't matter. These fans are starving, and they just, no one with the price of gas can be driving across the state lines to really go watch shit.
Yeah.
So the fact that we were in Tacoma, it was a casino. A lot of people were there. They were staying at the hotel, staying at the casino, and then watching the fights. People were smashed. And then I said, hey, you guys everyone get home safe? Because I just saw people go up and down, getting drinks. I was like, hey, guys, get home safe. They're like, we're staying here. It's the best we could have had in forever. And I'm like, oh, my gosh, man, crazy. But I just want to say big thanks to all the fans in Tacoma. You guys were amazing. Absolutely amazing.
Yeah, they were. Made it fun.
Right, let's make fun of the. Let's not make fun. Let's make fun. Let's talk about the fights.
Let's talk about.
I'm gonna make fun of some of these.
Look, we're gonna talk about ONE FC real quick, just the championship fight, just the main event, and the reason we're gonna talk about it is because Reinier de Ridder has proven that he is an elite fighter. He belongs with anybody, especially in the middleweight division. I don't think he's a light heavyweight. I don't think he's big enough for a light heavyweight, but at middleweight. Man, he's just unbelievable. But this was a light heavyweight fight, and he still, right away, gets the takedown, gets the inverted triangle, and puts his opponent to sleep. And, man, it wasn't even – the fight wasn't close. And he's going against one of the best fighters that one can put him up against. The guy has got phenomenal jiu-jitsu. And when I talk about jiu-jitsu, I'm talking about no-gi, MMA-style jiu-jitsu. Not everyone can do what he does when the fight hits the ground. He is special down there, and he's fun to watch because he is a technician, and he just chains things together until all of a sudden you're you're in trouble. So
Yeah.
nice win. What is he, 16-0, still undefeated now? Unbelievable as far as, what he's been doing. It's one of those, Josh, you look and you go, yeah, I'd like to see him go someplace else. And I know I shouldn't say that because, hey, if he's happy at one, I would love to see him against other competition out there, be it if he wants in the light heavyweight, but I'd really like to see him at the middleweight.
Yeah. I guess I always go back to when you have a fighter like him, you have Kayla Harrison, with us, with Cyborg, the UFC with Amanda Nunes at that 145. I feel like there's certain fighters that I'd really like to see cross promotion for. I really don't want to see them leave their organization if they're happy. I want to see that. I want to see these fights happen though.
Yeah, that's the whole thing.
I had this conversation with Rogan when I was on his show. I said, look, it's like having a year-end show. It's almost like a Olympics, where how MMA in Japan, they always had the New Year's Eve show. If you do one big show, have like 3 or 4 promotions come in, put a couple guys or females on a card and put it together, it'd probably be the biggest and most watched MMA show every year. Absolutely. I mean, you've got fans and you got people from all around the world. You say, like, and I'm not saying you have to have champion versus champions, but there's just fighters I would love to really see fight. Like I've always said, Stephen Thompson and MVP to me would be a fantastic fight. I'd love to see that fight.
So good.
There's just things there's certain fighters that I feel that I know that they don't like UFC. It wouldn't benefit them to do anything with Bellator. It wouldn't benefit them to do anything with one. But there's others or PFL for that matter. But there's just certain fighters that are on their roster that they're not doing anything with. They're not going to try to do anything with. Guys like Stephen Thompson, he's not going to allow him to make another run for the title. He's 38 years old. They're not going to allow it. So just let him move on.
Not even move on.
I don't really know if he. Yeah, let him move on. But put him into another fight, but still keep him under the UFC banner. Absolutely. Everyone knows that he's getting older, and just love to see him fight someone like MVP, who has come up short several times in title shots or in the opportunity to fight for the title. So just those are the type of fights I'd like to see. Now with DeRitter, like you can see him fighting, other guys from other organizations, because not a lot of fighters want to go to one based on the fact that it's so difficult to have people view them. Now, they just signed a deal with Amazon Prime, correct?
I believe so.
I believe they got 7 or 8 shows on Amazon Prime, which is good. I think it's going to be good for them. That's how they're going to kind of try to break into the States. And I have the same feeling. I got to be careful here. I have the same feeling with Bellator. Like, we've got to find a way to become a little bit more proactive in whether promoting our fighters or getting
more
them out
viewable.
More viewable. It's
like
viewable. The paywall really hurts. The paywall really hurts. Especially at $10 a month when other shows and other things are $4.99 or whatever.
But if think about it, John, if you took and if the 4 promotions, we'll say the UFC, Bellator, PFL, and one, once a year, be it at the end of the year, whenever, you send 3 to 4 fighters. Now, the UFC gets it the first year. Bellator gets it the next year. PFL or whoever, and each year, they're the ones that host that event, and you can put all of those as, if it's 3 fighters each, whatever, you can match all those up, and you can do what you want with the prelims and everything, but your main card is going to be all of these fighters interchangeable between the promotions going against each other. Yeah. It would be cool.
Yeah.
All depends on who they sent, though, too.
Yeah, but I just look at there are fighters that could be available from the UFC if they wanted them to be available. Like guys, they know they're not going to really do anything with.
Guys that are never going to vie for their title anymore.
Exactly. I mean, look, and nothing against Masvidal, right? But Masvidal could be one of those guys. Stephen Thompson could be one of those guys. Anthony Pettis could have been one of those guys when he was still with the UFC, but now he's with PFL. I mean, there's just fighters there's plenty of options for them, stylistically fights to be made. That for the fight fans, for the true hardcore fight fans, I think it would tune in to be probably one of the most watched shows every year. So New Year's Eve might cause a little bit of a damper, but I think that there's a lot of people that sure would love to be out on New Year's Eve, but there's a lot of people they don't do that anymore. Yep. Hey, you know what? Let's just stay home, watch the ball drop, or actually watch fights. Maybe just do a ball drop with the fights. That'd be great.
I'll drop an ice ball into a whiskey glass and watch the fights.
All right, well, let's that wraps up our one talk. We just talked about the main event, but let's go ahead and talk about the Bellator show.
All right, we started off with are we going to start off with the main event? Jason Jackson against Douglas Lima. This was Douglas Lima going in with 3 losses, but his losses, and we talked about it, Gegard Mousasi being the first. His last victory before that was Rory McDonald. He loses to Gegard, trying to get the middleweight championship, goes 5 rounds. He gets a decision against him. He then goes and loses his title to Yaroslav Amosov, who is 26-0 now, and got dominated in that fight, but it went through a decision. And then he lost to Michael Page in London in a fight that a lot of people feel like he got the wrong end of a split decision, but he lost it. And then the
London fans booed MVP.
Yeah,
when they announced what happened and when he walked out of the cage. Mm-hmm. I mean, I had a close fight. I had MVP, I think slightly edging him out, but it wasn't by much.
I had Douglas Lima win that fight.
Yeah, if it was Lima, I wouldn't have cared.
No.
Yeah.
But he did have to come in here. And the real thing is, and we talk about it all the time, it's that, man, when your confidence is down because you just can't find the answer. You feel like it's like you're working hard, you're training hard, but you've got to go back to figuring out, all right, where is it that I'm having problems? And it's fairly clear. We talked about it. The blueprint to beat Douglas Lima has always been get him off his feet, take him down, put him on his back. He believes in his jiu-jitsu as far as his jiu-jitsu will protect him. He'll every now and then maybe try to throw up a submission, and it's possible that he can get it, but he does a very good job of not accepting a lot of damage when he does get taken down. But that's not going to win him the fights, and that's what other fighters have figured out. They figured out, hey, get into him, take him down, and from that point, he's not dangerous. He's not the same guy. And on the feet, he's dangerous. He's got power in his hands. He's got big-time power in his kicks. And every fight, if you look at it, Gegard took him down, and when Gegard did not take him down, he had problems with him. And then Gegard took him down 4 times. Amosov took him down 5 times. Page didn't take him down at all. It was Lima doing the takedowns. And then Jason Jackson, I would say, probably had 7 to 8 takedowns in this fight. And maybe 1 or 2 less than that. But I know he had at least 6. And he followed the blueprint. You cannot blame him. He's a guy that's sitting in a position where he's coming off of 5 wins. It should actually be more than that in a row. And he's got a shot, possibly at the title if he gets the win against Lima. He comes in and goes, hey, I'm going to wrestle. I'm going to take him down. And he did. And he was successful. And he did it repeatedly. And he got the win like he's supposed to. Was it the most entertaining fight? No. Well, but it was a smart fight. Super smart fight by Jason Jackson. Kept himself out of danger throughout the entire fight. Did not take any damage at all. And he got the win.
John, it was a boring fight.
I didn't say it wasn't.
No, you kind of pussyfooted around a little bit. It was a boring fight. And I'm a Jason Jackson fan.
Yep.
Jason knows that, and you know that. I think majority of people that listen to the show know that. I'm a Douglas Lima fan. But when fighters lose, it's almost like the groundwork has been laid out. The game plan has been laid out, and those other fighters in that division start paying attention and just following the same game plan.
And so, why shouldn't they?
Yeah. Yeah, and so until Douglas Lima figures out whether he wants to still be in there or not, or if it's just that he needs to work more on his wrestling. But at 34 years old, how much of your game are you really going to change? So I look at it a couple different ways. He hasn't won a fight since he fought Rory McDonald in the finals of the welterweight Grand Prix.
Yep.
Where he wins. He wins $1 million plus his fight purse. So he wins that $1 million on top of his fight purses, and his fight purses are pretty high. So there was, I don't know who said this, but I think it was Muhammad Ali. It's hard to get up and go do your road work when you're sleeping in silk sheets. I think that he's done everything he's ever wanted to do. He's a 3-time welterweight world champion.
Yeah.
I don't know if the fire's there anymore. I just don't. And there's nothing against Douglas Lima. It's hard to get up and when your bank account's full of money, you got two. I believe he's got two beautiful kids. He's got his wife, his his family.
Got a beautiful family.
He's a family man.
Yep.
He's all about his mother and his family and his his kids. It's like, I get it. I understand. He worked his ass off to win that tournament. You got to remember, he lost to Roy first.
Yep.
Then he realized what he did, and then he got in the tournament and he won it when it counted. And that's what makes the difference. So I think after that, I was like, okay, it was like the cherry on top was that. And then he tried to challenge himself and going to gay guards, going up to 185. And I thought he looked good had he just had a little bit more output.
Yeah.
But then that's been kind of a little bit of the story of his career, is that he doesn't have a ton of output. When he's been forced to fight, like in the stand-up position, he'll gunsling. But when you start threatening the takedowns, he kind of just starts to worry about more of the takedowns, and then doesn't pull the trigger, doesn't have as much output, and has a tendency to be boring.
No, he has a tendency to accept being on the bottom.
There you go.
And you can't do it.
You can't. Like there's I don't know how many times we've talked about when he gets taken down, he just holds guard.
Yep.
Like the one time he opened up his guard, he landed an up kick and almost knocked out Jason Jackson. It was impressive. I was like, well, get up. But then in that process of knocking him out, he never tried to get up after even when Jason was still like just kind of hanging on him.
Even when
get up.
Even when he tried the hook sweeps and he got Jason's balance out, he was off balance stuff. Jason was not offensive at those times. So why is that not what you're going back to? You've got to get out of that position. You're not, if you're gonna find that submission, and when you don't find it right away, and then as the rounds are going by, he's getting slipperier. It's probably not going to happen. So we've got to change it up. We got to go to plan B. We've got to start to say, okay, I just got to work to get back to my feet. And if that means that you give up position as far as turning your back to get you're going to lose this. And as you've said before, there's going to be an L next to your name no matter what. So you might as well try to get yourself out of this position. Yeah,
I looked at it too. And I don't want to, I look at it as a lot of Lima's issues that he's having right now. But let's talk about Jason Jackson. For me with Jason Jackson, he needs to be busier on top.
Yes.
We talked to them in the fighter reviews. You've got to put more work in. You've got to be more active. I'm surprised that Herzog didn't stand him up 3 or 4 more times. I'm surprised. There was moments there where I counted, John, almost 30 seconds without him throwing one punch. Mm-hmm. I mean, as a ref, what are you doing? And I love Jason. I love Herzog.
It's a matter of what is Douglas Lima. If Douglas Lima is closed guard during those 30 seconds, I don't know. And so you're saying,
he had closed guard, but then he was it was Jason guard, really just laying on him.
But what is that closed guard doing?
It's keeping him there too.
Okay, and who's actually helped stalling the fight? And you're going to reward him?
If Jason's just chest to chest with the hands on the mat, not really throwing any punches.
What is Douglas Lima doing?
30 seconds. Was just trying to do like little tiny pot shots. That was it. It's like it was kind of I counted a couple segments. Yeah, I counted a couple points in the 5-round fights where there was 15 to 30 seconds. I would say like 4 or 5 of them where it could have been stood up, especially in the 4th and 5th round.
Well, we know what kind of referee you're going to be.
Yeah, I am. So, and I love Herzog. I love it, but I love him. But in that moment, there was moments there where Jason should have been more active. And the ref shouldn't have rewarded him by allowing him just to stay on top and just hold there.
Should he have rewarded Douglas Lima with a stand-up?
I guess I'm looking at it as that position is no different if the two of you guys are pressed against the fence and no one's doing anything. So why not separate them and get them off the fence? That position's no different.
Okay.
So you're saying
I'm not going to sit here and argue with you. I like the fact that you're looking at it that way because it's true. If they're doing nothing, they're in that's as close to 50-50 on the ground as you can be. It is similar to being up against the cage in a clinch position. But
I've seen refs separate them when it's just like, okay, like knee the thigh, maybe land, like hit the body or whatever, like not just like little hammer fist, nothing really. And then they've separated them there several times. Especially if there's no punches or anything thrown for 15 to 30 seconds, you gotta stand them up. So
be more
just
active.
my opinion. Yes, but that comes from the ass kicking machine needs to have more ass kicking.
Yes, I agree. If you're going to have that, I love his mantle. I love that the nickname, and I love Jason Jackson as a person and as a fighter. But
He's a phenomenal person.
You got to start working towards those finishes. I say it all the time. Look, if I was a promoter, the first thing I would tell guys on my roster is, hey, I just want you to understand. I want you to try to finish the fight. The harder you fight, win or lose, I will have you back. Yeah. It's when you don't, and you give me a boring fight because you don't do the things that people expect you to try to do because you're being cautious, or in those, even you get the win, you might not be back. Yeah. People pay for entertainment. I've always looked at this as, this is sport. And, through other, people and stuff, and, even like Mauro Ronaldo comes from a sports entertainment background. I understand you got to entertain the fans because they're the ones that are putting, their hard-earned money out there to watch it. And you got to give them what they paid for. You got to give it everything you can in there. So it's a tough one.
Yeah, I'm not going to say they didn't give it everything they had to, but I'm going to say that they both could have done more. They could, but
if you're saying that they both could have done more, then they didn't give it everything that they could. That's what you're saying.
It's hard though, John. With Lima, right? He doesn't want to.
Look, if they worked their butts off, it just wasn't exciting. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. So, all right, enough on that fight.
Tofik Musayev versus Sidney Outlaw. This fight took a long time to finish. This thing went fast, but and I know you were sitting near me when it happened. You said early stoppage, and I said not really. And I understand what you were talking about, but Sidney got hit in the temple, and we know that just takes your equilibrium away. And then he got hit, and he was froze when he was going down. Now he woke up as his butt hit the canvas, but it was not going to get better. And you got to, I believe that Keith Peterson made the decision as he watched Sidney Outlaw falling. I need to stop this, and that's why he did. He didn't give him time to hit the ground and see what happened, which could have ended up Sidney taking more shots, even if he didn't wake up. And so it's a tough position, but I think Keith Peterson actually did a good job.
Look, I like Keith Peterson. He's reffed a couple of my fights. He's a very nice guy. Yeah. He doesn't drink or smoke.
Yeah, he doesn't smell like smoking alcohol. That's a lie.
Yeah. But I will say this, that I've come on this show after talking to referees when fights were stopped too soon. And those referees told me, look, I look at the placement of the fighter. If it was because one of the fights in Paris, I said that fight was stopped too soon.
Yeah.
The guy was winning the fight, got rocked, and, he took some shots, but he was still on his feet, and he was walking forward. He's like, yeah, but this guy's number 2 on the prelims. He's relatively unknown. He's young. Why am I going to ruin his career? He has the potential of having a bright future. I got that part. This fight is basically for a number 1 contender spot.
It's close.
You've gotta let these guys go out on their shield, and I know you don't want to have them take
I told you, I understand.
Yeah, you don't want to allow them to take too much damage, but when Sidney is also a wrestler, he's a grappler. You have to know the fighters that you're reffing, and I'm sure that Keith Peterson knew who he was dealing with. But that fight hits the ground. Musayev pressures him and tries to jump on him, and Sidney's able to grab a leg. It may slow the whole fight in action down. Guys that rock people sometimes smother their shots, end up getting put into a clinch, end up giving up in a double leg or whatever, getting put on their back. In this situation, I could have seen something like that happen. I'm not saying it was going to happen.
Nope.
I'm not saying that. He could have taken one more shot and been face down, ass up.
Yep.
Could have.
Yep.
But we'll never know.
Okay. I understand what you're saying. I understand what you're saying, and I can see it. And yeah, and the one thing that really leans me towards that is exactly what you're saying. This was a high caliber fight. Sidney Outlaw had a championship shot. It was taken away due to an injury, but he still took on a guy he knew was tough to maintain that position. And so you got to let him go as far as you can. You got to, as we would say, you got to let him swim into deep waters. Well,
John, I've said this a couple of times, but what did I tell you every time you came back and ref? I said this to every ref. What did I tell you?
Don't
stop this fight until I quit moving.
Unless I'm not moving. Don't stop my fight.
Yeah.
And every time I told you what?
I'll stop it when I want.
Don't you worry about that. I'll stop it when I need to.
Yeah. But it's one of those things. I wanted every opportunity, every last chance to make sure it was there. Because if you look at the Tony Ferguson fight, right, I got elbowed in the head, got dropped, I hit my knees, and then, it was off balance, and then went down and tried to grab the single leg. But I was able to still fight through it. I mean, I took some unnecessary damage in that fight. But it was one of those things I didn't want it to be. I didn't want it to end. You didn't want it to be over. I knew there was still fight in me. I knew I could get through it, and I think Sidney is one of those guys as well.
Yeah.
So it was, and like I said, there was so much at stake, and that poor guy, man, he's been the number one contender for a little bit now. It took this fight against a fucking dog.
Let's be honest. There are guys, and a lot of them coming from Eastern European countries right now, in Bellator's lightweight. They've got some studs, and Tofik Mosaev is one of them. This kid is good. You know that. I know that.
Yeah.
Alexander Shabley being there. Yeah. Usman Nurmagomedov being there. They've got they got a couple more that they just brought in.
Yeah.
It's going to be hard to be in that upper 5 in the lightweight division very shortly. Yeah. So things are going to be moving. People are going to be moving out of their spots, and there's going to be some killers, working towards getting that belt. So
yeah, I look at it too. I look at it a couple different ways. What happened was, and I think, they were paying Michael Chandler a lot of money to try to keep him because he was one of the original guys kind of on the roster. Him and Eddie Alvarez and the guys, they were paying him a lot of money. When they let Michael Chandler go, that freed up a ton of money that it was allowed them to bring in top level guys and pay them pretty damn well.
Mm-hmm.
So they've got 3 or 4 fighters just off the amount of money they were paying Chandler.
That's right.
Smart on their part. If they want to build up a new division, get rid of the old meat that it only has maybe 5 or 6 more fights left in them, against tough talent. Let them go, and then build up your new up and coming fighters that are explosive, entertaining, and like Usman being one of them, Tofik being one, Alexander Shabley obviously being one with his knockout win over Brent Primus his last fight. I mean, there's guys in there. This division's going to be a dog division here I think by next year.
Yep,
I wouldn't be surprised if Scott Coker doesn't make this division the next World Grand Prix next year.
I believe so, and especially with the next guy that we're going to talk about, by the name of Nurmagomedov. Like, dude, he looks so good as far as relaxed, in control. Chris Gonzalez is a true stud of an athlete, great wrestler, and Usman had a game plan going out there, took his time, controlled the stand-up, made Chris kind of, jump towards, trying to get the takedown because he was not doing as well on the feet as he thought he could against him, and sunk in the choke. And you got to look and you say, man, the guy's dangerous. He's got good wrestling. He's got slick submissions. He's got tremendous stand-up. And he called out the champ. He wants it already. And at 15-0, how do you deny him?
Yeah, I agree. How do you deny him? But then I also feel that there's other guys that are in that mix right now. Look, you could say Tofik should get the next title shot because he just beat Sidney Outlaw. But you could also, there's claim right there for Alexander Shabley, who knocked out Brent Primus, who is the former champion. It was the number 2 guy. So I think Usman's still number 3 in line.
I don't think so.
I think...
I
would go Shabley over. I'd go Shabley over Usman, and Usman.
I understand why you're saying that, but I can take a look. And Shabley has fought twice or 3 times?
Twice.
Usman has fought 3 times. Tofik has fought once.
Yeah. I understand what you're saying. Yeah. I do. I don't look at it in who's fought what. Who has done who? First, Tofik's already got a win over Pitbull and Ryzen. In the finals there at their Grand Prix.
I know.
So there's that. And Tofik coming in, starching the number 1 contender, I feel like he's automatic.
Okay.
You also don't want to take a chance of him losing to someone else and ruining that opportunity for those 2 guys to fight. The build-up and everything that needed to happen happened. Now you need to, as a promoter, I would imagine Coker and Showtime and Bellator need to capitalize on that. They'd be foolish not to. That fight needs to happen.
So then let me ask you a question. Why do we have rankings? Oh, no. This because look, I'm saying this for a reason, because everyone goes to the UFC and says they don't follow their rankings, and you're right, they don't at times. Okay, but you can take a look, and I'm not going to say anything. I hate Bellator's rankings, and I think the people that put them together, which is the media, do a horrible job, not even understanding who some of these people are. I don't think they even watched them fight. But right now, you got Sidney Outlaw just lost. Okay, That would possibly move Benson Henderson if he wins in Ireland. He's the number one guy if you look at the rankings. See? This is what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
I don't think so. I think you're going to end up with Tawfiq being number one ahead of number one and number two.
You think he's going to jump that far? I don't think they're going to jump him that far.
I think they're going to jump. They'd be stupid not to.
Well,
He should.
Well, Josh
if
Stupid
they know anything
is part of what the rankings are.
If they knew anything about the sport, knowing that he's already beaten Patricky, they would slide him ahead of Benson and Usman.
Okay.
They would already slide him ahead. I know it was his debut.
I'm okay with that, but it's a matter of what have we seen from this?
Well, this is what I want to know. How the fuck is Alexander Shabley ranked below Brent Primus when he just knocked him out?
Who he knocked out? I know.
How
you knocked him out in the first round.
Possible?
And you got him below. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
No, I'm like, okay, what is going on? Look, people are going to, I thought Usman shouldn't have been that high. Look, I'm teammates with them. I know them. I know, obviously, Javier's was my coach for the longest time. I'm an AK nut rider. These guys are, they come from the camp that I helped build. I'm going to be on their side. But I felt like, sure, being 15-0 now, like they rushed him a little bit. I think people in the media, they gave him a higher slot because of his last name.
Might have.
He's living up to it. He's living up to it. Chris Gonzalez is a tough fight. Chris Gonzalez is a very tough fight, especially since I've trained with Usman. I know what him and his brother Umar are good at. They're both phenomenal fighters, but wrestling is kind of the part where they lack. They're not like Khabib and they're not like Islam. They don't have that pedigree of wrestling.
Level.
They are good that level. They are good wrestlers. They've got good foot sweeps, good trips, all of those things, but it's not at the level. Their wrestling is not at the level of Khabib and Islam, but their stand-up is phenomenal. They have great, like that Taekwondo style stand-up, side kicks, back kicks, spinning back kicks, snap kicks, all of those things. They are phenomenal. Good long-range jabs and punches. They put it together very well. So I feel that Usman's living up to it, which he's holding up his end of the bargain. But Dave, can you pull back up the rankings? But I don't see how Alexander Shabley is not number 2. Benson Henderson should be either right in front of Usman or right behind Usman. That's it. I don't understand where they're at in this position here. And where's Peter Queally? Peter Queally's number 6. So you got Peter Queally and Benson Henderson. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I'm a Ben fan, man. Everyone knows I'm a Benson Henderson fan. I love the guy. He's a fucking phenomenal person. He's a great guy. But he hasn't had the best run in Bellator.
No.
And I don't think he hasn't. He lost to Patricky. There's no one else here that he's fought. Did he fight Brent Primus?
No. Yes, he did. He lost to Brent Primus.
Yeah, he lost to him, right?
Yeah.
He got taken down over and over, right? Yeah. So in that fight, and that's what I'm saying. Like now you have him ranked ahead of Brent Primus, who just lost by knockout, but Henderson also lost to him. It's just I look at the rankings. I feel like these people, the media, they don't either know the history of the fighters that are here, or they don't know, or they just not paying attention enough. Because I don't understand how you have Alexander Shabley ranked below Brent Primus in their last fight. That was the last fight for both of them.
Yeah,
he just knocked him out.
Yeah,
he just knocked him out. And this happened before. It's not just one fighter. It's happened before. There was a couple fights
How many times?
Someone got. There's been a couple times.
I know.
A couple times.
That's what I said.
Kyoji Horiguchi. He loses to Dan Moret, and Horiguchi was still ranked way ahead of him. I'm like, you just lost.
Hold on. You just lost yourself. I love you.
What?
Kyoji Horiguchi.
Oh, not Horiguchi. Sorry. Yamuchi.
Yamuchi. There you go.
Yamuchi. My bad. My bad.
Okay.
Different weight classes.
I had to fix you on that one. I'm sorry.
I'm sleep deprived.
Yeah.
Sleep deprived. No, but it's yeah. Anyways, so Tawfiq and then Usman both look good. Usman, I was surprised, capitalized real fast on Chris Gonzalez's mistake.
Yep.
Nicely done. Pressed him to the fence, got the choke. Like I said, right now, Tawfiq, Usman, and Alexander Shabley right now are living up to all the hype that we've heard about them for years.
Yes.
For years. So good for them. Next fight.
Lorenz Larkin against Mohamed Berhamov ended with a no contest. I don't have a problem with a no contest. I thought it was the right thing to do as far as the shot. You know, a lot of people can sit there and go, "Oh no, he hit him to the back of the head." Yes, did he intend to hit him to the back of the head, or was he trying to hit him to the ear and it just didn't go in the direction where he wanted? everyone thinks, oh, it's so easy to land stuff. It's not. And sometimes it's difficult, and you're trying to do something, and it just doesn't end up in the spot. My biggest complaint was, look at, I like Steve Newport as a referee. He's a good referee. When you go to the side and you say, what do you want me to do?
Oh,
It's time for you to get the hell out of there. That was horrible. Corey Schaefer, I'm going to put it out there right now, is basically the equivalent in Bellator to Mark Ratner. Kind of, he's the regulations guy for Bellator, same as Mark Ratner is for the UFC. And he did exactly what he should have done. He said, that's not my call. That's your call. He goes, if you want to call it this way, you can call it this way. If you want to call it, and he gave him the things, but he put it back on the referee, which, look, you should know. That is your job. You don't ever ask someone. The only time you can ask, things like that is, hey, I didn't see something, and I didn't see what occurred. Did you see it? Okay, that's all right. But when you have something, you know what happened. That's why you're called the sole arbiter. You're the one to make that decision. Make the goddamn decision. And he did make the right decision, I thought, in the end. But you just made the entire thing look bad by asking people outside of the cage, what do you want me to do? I don't give a shit what they want you to do. I want you to make that damn decision. That's your job.
Oh, wow. Are you done then? Can I go now? I looked at like I said, I'm fine with the no contest. I feel like I should have had an Oscar there a little bit for Brahimov. Should have given him the Aljo Oscar. It was one of those things. It didn't look like a hard shot.
Are we going to start having a Razzie Award?
I mean, it just didn't look like a hard shot. I don't know why. And I think that he was on his way to winning that fight. He got the takedown pretty easily. Then, Larkin was working his way back up. But it was like, I don't know, man. It didn't look like a hard shot. And I said, like, the other way is that you don't know what that fighter's going through. You don't know how that elbow really affected him. But we've seen across all fucking fights, people have been kneed straight in the face and been like, shake it off and keep coming.
Yep.
And so it's, I don't know, John.
Okay.
It is what it is. I doubt they'll run it back, but no contest.
All right, Marcelo Golm versus Davion Franklin. There was a lot of acrobatics in this, as far as some beautiful lifts and slams and things going on. Davion Franklin is just a young fighter as far as his knowledge in the sport, and he tends to put everything out into areas, and then he makes mistakes at times. And Marcelo Golm was able to catch him. Marcelo had a big cut on his eye, kept working his way through things, worked his way out of bad positions at time. He was not the stronger fighter. He was not the bigger fighter, but he was the more mature fighter as far as not allowing the fight to hype him up too much, not get too excited, not make the mistakes that were going to lead him into positions. And Davion used a lot of strength in some areas, man. When he turned him and he reversed him, it was like a bench press with a pull. You go, that's a lot of energy. Great job. He got him there against a guy that's good on the ground. But you knew that the gas pedal was really stepped on in those situations. And I think in the end, that caused Davion to make mistakes that led to his demise in this fight. But he's going to learn from it.
Yeah, I think that Davion Franklin, he utilizes way too much power all the time, leaves himself out of position. The head kick cost him. He threw the head kick, slipped, hit the ground, just ended up giving up his back. And with 30 seconds left in the fight, maybe a minute, something along those lines. It's I think if you are Davion Franklin's coaches, you got to slow him down. He's athletic. People tend to fall in love with the fact that their fighter's athletic. He's talented. All these things. The guy doesn't know how to fight, though, John. He doesn't know how to fight. Like the reason why this fight was so good is because Golm can take punishment. That's one.
Yep.
Davion Franklin's wild and crazy and will do things that shows a very low fight IQ. But then the two of them made a ton of mistakes. It's a little bit like how remember we talked about the Yuri fight and Glover fight.
Yeah.
Because both of them felt like they didn't have a good fight.
Made it a good fight.
I'm not putting either one of these guys at that level of Glover Teixeira and Yuri Prochaska. But I'm saying that they made so many mistakes that it became a very fun fight to watch.
Yeah.
This fight had the crowd on its feet from beginning to end. All the back and forths, the takedown, and then the sweep.
Big time moments in this thing.
Big slams, all of those things. And it was like, wow, this fight.
Made it fun.
It was sloppy, but it was fun. And the crowd was going crazy. But the mistakes is what made it fun. A little bit like how the Yuri and the Glover fight happened. But in this situation, I'd pull back a little bit on what I'm doing with Davion Franklin and just get him to really focus on slowing down and stop trying to race to the money. You don't know how to fight yet. You
can hear Greg Dean. Look, he's at a good fight camp. Obviously, the people that are training him know what they're doing, and you can hear Greg Jackson telling him, "Slow down, take your time," all those things. But as I've said in the past, and we've talked about, one of the most frustrating things there is being a trainer on the outside, knowing you have a game plan for this fight, and now you have a fighter that's not doing those things that you planned and is going at a speed or doing things that you're going, slow down. There's nothing you can do. He's going to go and he's going to do what he wants, and it's just a matter of learning in the gym to get himself more relaxed, more calm in the fight. It's just going to take time.
Yep. All right, next fight.
Oh, Dalton Rasta versus Romero Cotton. The performance of the night, I'm going to say. As far as overall fight, Dalton Rasta put on a beautiful performance against a tough dude, a strong dude, a guy we know can wrestle, a guy that we know is tough as hell. And Romero Cotton showed that he has got a chin. I mean, that's a good thing and a bad thing. I'm just going to be honest and say it, because you can only rely on that for so long before it's not good. But God damn, he took some big shots in this thing and just stood there like they didn't even affect him for a lot of it. And Dalton Rasta just stuck to his game plan. Romero tried to out-wrestle him. He couldn't do it. Dalton Rasta was all over and made Romero pay when he did go for those takedowns, which was a big difference in the fight.
It was a huge difference. And I went in the back because Dalton had some kind words for me after in the post-fight interview.
It's all good. This is the best part. We get stuff from fighters all the time, and they listen, and it's good that they listen, because sometimes, we're going to say things that they agree with, and sometimes we're going to say things that they don't, and they want to prove us wrong, and that's awesome. I'm glad you want to prove us wrong. I'm glad that you have it there. Oh, I'm going to show him. Good. That's great. And Dalton went out there and he did that. He's, what he said was basically, you said that he was going to out wrestle me. I don't think that happened.
No.
And he told me as I went in there, the first thing he said is Josh Thompson said that he was going to, I go, I'll ask you the question, bud. And it was great.
Yeah. Yeah. So I went in the back afterwards because I actually that was the last fight on the prelim, so I actually left my location to go in the back and use the restroom. And then I hear on my earpiece, "Hey, get Josh back out here. Does he want to react to that?" I'm react to what? I'm like, react to what? So I run out there, and they're telling me that he said that I had said all these things on my podcast about how he was going to, that Romero was going to put him on his back and, and he was going to wrestle him and all these. I was like, oh, okay, I can work with this. So I gave my little comments afterwards. He fought a great fight. I mean, like, realistically, right from the very beginning, Dalton Rasta proved me wrong. Not just in terms of the wrestling, but I really believed that he was going to feel a little bit of Yoel Romero's power, and he was going to kind of start to wilt a little bit if Yoel was, or not Yoel, sorry, I keep saying Yoel.
That's all right. I was going to say something.
Romero Cotton. Yeah, Romero Cotton. He was going to feel Romero's power on the feet, and then, it'd make it easier for Romero to push him to his back to the fence and get some takedowns. That wasn't the case. That wasn't the case at all. Dalton Rasta was faster than him. Dalton Rasta had the better and cleaner stand-up.
Speed was apparent.
What Dalton did very well was he mixed everything up. He was throwing the kicks, landing the hands, and then shot the takedowns. And the timing of the takedowns were beautiful.
Yep.
Beautiful transitions. Nicely done by him. I'm going to tip my hat to him. I look, and Romero's one of my, he's like, I worked with him a lot.
Yeah, I know. He's a friend.
Sometimes. He's a friend of mine. So obviously, everyone that listens to the show knows I'm a homer, man. I'm a homer for my boys, people that I care for, people that I've worked with, people that I actually train with. I'm a homer for the AKA guys. That's just who I am. But Romero just came up short, man. Like he looked slower in there than I normally. He wasn't throwing kicks. I had worked with him a lot on just, hey, let your kicks go. Go from your kick, come back, throw the hands, and then wrestle right off of that. He just was throwing ones and twos, one and two, and then, shooting raw dog. He wasn't even shooting off of his 1 and 2s.
But he was
Don
getting
Rossa
hit.
had him. Yeah, he was getting hit. I understood that. But you got to throw more than one. That's why you're getting hit.
Yeah,
when someone's faster than you, you got to throw more than one. You got to throw 2 and 3. And then work your way into that clinch and that body lock along those lines. So those are positions. Those are things that he needs to work on. The other thing as well is that he's not as active as he should be. He's had a lot of injuries, recently. But I'm not taking anything away from Dillon Danis. He fought a great fight, was on point. He looked phenomenal. I don't know what the fuck his parents feed him, man, but he looks like a goddamn Greek god.
He is.
Jesus. It's disgusting how damn good looking that kid is.
We talk all the time, not on the podcast. And in this one, I said, to me, Josh, the big difference is the level of the opponents that they've faced already.
Yeah.
Dalton had faced much better opponents, in my opinion, overall than Romero. And so this was a big step up for Romero when I didn't see that it was a big step up for Dalton. And we've had that, both ways, where I've gone the other way and said, oh, I think, and you said, no, level. And I think the fact that Dalton has faced better competition showed. And it showed that he's learned more now throughout those fights, and it's helped him get to that level that he's at. He's still, got a little ways to go. He's a guy you can look at the future and say in the 185-pound division, the only problem is his teammate has the belt in Johnny Eblen, a guy that he trains with all the time, but that's part of the reason he's gotten better. He's training with guys that are making him better, and it is his transitions. We've watched the beginning of his career where he got tired in fights. He does not get tired anymore. He understands how to control the pace. He understands when to go, when to hold back. And it is those transitions of going from one element to the next, the way he is using kicks, the way he is using his hands, the way he's backing it up with wrestling. He's just becoming a really good MMA fighter who's transitioning well. He's going to be a handful for everyone. He's fun.
Yeah, the ATT guys there, you've got Austin Vanderford there, Yaroslav Amosov is there. You've got Johnny Eblen, obviously the new middleweight champ. Those guys are building up a little good program there that they have between those 4 guys. Those 4 guys there are doing some really good work.
Unfortunately, 3 of them are in the middleweight.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
this is true. So, but good. I'm looking forward to seeing him fight again. But Romero's got some things to work on. And Dillon Danis just keep improving the way he's improving, man. Great performance. I went in the back and talked to him afterwards, and it's so funny. I love to. He goes, I love to talk about people like their height. You guys hear me. I'm like, oh yeah, Michael Chandler's like 5'6".
Like, oh, you
so
say 5'4".
He's 5'4".
5'4".
And then so he goes back. He says, hey, by the way, he's like, I'm fucking taller than you. He's like, I'm not 5'6". I'm like, Dalton, buddy, come on, man. This is what I do. I like to stir the pot a little bit. This is what I do. All right. But great performance. Good job, bud. And looking forward to watching you fight again. Next fight?
Any other fights you want to talk about?
Let me see.
Vita Ortega had a nice submission win against Porto. Rabadanov, great overall fight. Very, very technical. Smart fight against Bobby King. You got to say, Ahmed Magomedov. Dude, I've never seen him look better as far as being in shape. He was ripped
at the weigh-ins.
And he just went after that fight and just dominated every second. Beautiful job by him. Overall, a lot of guys doing good things. Any other fight you want to talk about right now?
Scroll down. Was there any other ones before that? Scroll down there,
Dave's
Dave.
asleep right now.
Yes. Archie Kogan.
Okay.
Archie Kogan had a great fight.
Boy, he did.
I thought he looked phenomenal. He looked phenomenal. I thought Roman Faraldo kept doing what he's doing. He's 8-0. He's got 8 finishes.
Yeah.
Hello. He's got
power.
2 flying knee knockouts.
He's got power.
He's phenomenal. But he mixes up his striking on how he switches his stances, throws the knees, comes up with, up the middle with the push kicks. He does everything. Switch stance, cross jab. Like, he does a lot of good things on the feet. Hard to take down, tough to get in on the hips on him. Phenomenal fighter. I'm looking forward to watching him fight again. Like I said, 8 fights. He's 8-0, 8 finishes. That's crazy, John.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Fantastic.
I wish I had power. Sucks. I will say this, though. Jalen
shorter
Bates.
Fights.
Jalen Bates didn't live up to what I expect from him.
Huh?
He needs to figure out what went wrong in that fight. But coach put him on his back foot, and he wasn't the same fighter. He looked good off of his back. We know he's a great grappler. We know he's got good transitions. He looked good on the ground, but he just didn't look good on the feet. He looked uncomfortable. His stuff was like 1 and 2 shots. Kind of
did
flashy,
get him in a
but nothing was
spladle,
landing. Yeah, that's true.
That was nice.
Yes, that was nice. And then Archie Colgan, that guy, phenomenal.
Hey,
Great performance.
And the thing you got to say about Archie Colgan is this. Look, he went out there and he was dominating the fight as far as first and second round. Brian Nero, very tough as far as he took a ton of shots and hung tough. Archie could have just cruised in that third round. He went after him to finish, and he got the finish. And you go, way to go, Archie Colgan, man. You look great. Your stand-up's looking great. We know you got great wrestling. And way to go after finishing a fight. Really impressed by that.
Well, Colgan's out of Sanford, right?
No, Colgan's out of, I want to say Elevation in Colorado.
Okay. Sorry. I thought I heard. Anyways, but look, great performance by him. He looked good. I love the fact that he was getting after it in that third round, trying to get that fight out of there. So nicely done by him. All right, that's going to wrap up our Bellator talk. Let's go right into the UFC. This show is brought to you by MyBookie.ag. MyBookie.ag brings you the best betting odds across the world. Go to MyBookie.ag. Use our promo code WayneIn. Big John's over here laughing at me, giving me a hard time all weekend, all day. I swear I don't know why I put up with you, but hey, if you guys use our promo code WayneIn, they're going to give you a little bit of extra spending cash with your first initial deposit. And the issue that you have with most online gambling sites is that you have to bet your winnings 3 or 4 times before you can pull your money out. At MyBookie.ag, you only have to bet your winnings 1 time. After you've bet your winnings 1 time, you can pull that money out right into your bank account. And hey, you can just thank us for doing that. We have talked to MyBookie about doing that. They've go ahead and conceded those things for us. We love the fact when you guys use our promo code WayneIn, these are the things that are available to you at MyBookie.ag. Use that promo code WayneIn.
All right, we're going to talk about the disappointment. Sometimes there's nothing you can do. Sometimes fights suck just because God wanted them to suck, and it was.
Yeah, right.
What do you do? 15 seconds. It's like, this is not Tom Aspinall's fault. It's not Curtis Blades. I was very impressed. In the first 15 seconds or so, Curtis Blades landed 2 hard shots. Tom Aspinall was coming forward. It looked like it was going to be a barn burner of a heavyweight matchup. It looked really interesting. And then Aspinall takes a step back and his knee goes out, and that's the end of the fight. It didn't prove anything in any way other than, that both guys were there to fight. Blades gets the win. Aspinall gets the injury. He's going to be on the back burner for a while, recovering and stuff. And that's too bad because it's really nice to see a guy that comes out there wanting to actually really, go after his opponent. But it is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, I was looking forward to seeing Tom Aspinall fight even longer, but it didn't come about. Can't take anything away from Curtis Blades. I like what he said though in his post-fight interview. He said, "Look, I'm not going to wait around for him to do the rematch." He's like, he's going to have to heal up and get ready. He's like, I need to move on. He's like, I should be either next in line for the title shot, or I should fight the winner of Gone and who's Gone fighting? It's fighting somebody.
Yeah.
So
Tuivasa.
So he's like, Tuivasa. I should fight the winner of that, so he gets the next title shot. I can't disagree.
Well,
can't disagree.
You look at, and this is Curtis Blades did exactly what he was supposed to do. He prepared himself. He got himself in good shape for the fight. He goes out there. He starts fighting hard, and the injury happens. He gets the win. It's a win no matter what. That's a TKO win, and you can't expect him to say, "Oh yeah, I'll wait. I'll slow my career down to redo it with Tom Aspinall after he recovers from." You can't expect that from him. That's stupid. No. He needs to move on, and eventually, if they're both winning, they're going to end up being put back together.
Yeah, the heavyweight division is kind of up in the air right now because they don't know what's going on with Ngannou.
Exactly.
So you might as well just allow them to fight.
Yep.
That's it. So these things happen though. This reminded me a little bit of the Patrick Cote fight. Remember with Anderson Silva where he stepped back and his knee popped?
Yep.
Kind of similar. But that fight was in round 3, I think, or something like that.
Yeah, it was.
4. All right, next fight. Jack Hermanson versus Chris Curtis.
I'm going to give it to Jack Hermanson. I thought he fought a very smart fight. Great movement. Was not trying to shoot for stupid takedowns and it put himself in a bad position. He frustrated Chris, but I'm going to say that Chris, who is a great fighter and I love him, he did not fight smart in the first couple of rounds. He did not cut the cage off like he should have. He was following, and then he thought, if I step back, which sometimes you do, I'll step back. Let's have him come forward. Jack Hermanson didn't change much, and that frustrated him. And you could see that it frustrated him, and he just needs to go back and figure, look, you have more tools than being a boxer. Chris Curtis has got good kicks, and he did not use them. For the most part, I don't know how many kicks he threw in that fight, but if it was over 3, I'm surprised. He was trying to become, this guy was trying to knock Jack Hermanson out, and Jack was, just doing what he was supposed to do. He was touching him, movement, touch, move, kept throwing a couple combinations, circled out, reset. That's smart fighting. And not everyone is going to stand in front of you and just trade. That's not smart fighting. And if that's what Chris Curtis is going to expect of his opponents, not many are going to do it after they've seen the power that he has. So you got to give it up for Jack. I thought he fought a smart fight. I thought it was well done. And I think Chris is going to learn a lot from that loss in the fact that he kind of gave it away with some of the things that he was doing.
Yeah, I felt like he was trying to conserve energy in the first round or two. Because I know that he took this fight on short notice.
A little bit.
But he's also came off of a fight just 3 weeks ago or something?
Yeah, just about.
I think he fought about 3 weeks ago, maybe a month ago.
3-4.
I think it was 3 weeks ago. Yeah, something like that. But maybe he maybe he was just nervous about his condition, his cardio going into this fight and having to wrestle as much as it was. Because he looked like he was conserving his energy in that first round and somewhat into the second round. When was it, Dave?
1 month, June 25th to July 23rd.
Yeah. So there's benefits to taking back-to-back fights if you're staying fit and in the gym, but there's also negatives that sometimes you get burnt out. You don't, the explosiveness isn't there.
Sometimes
you
can't get that peak back.
Yeah, you can't ride a Ferrari on 10 all the time. It's you gotta let it dial back a little bit. And Curtis is like a Ferrari, man. The guy's got power. He's explosive. Those type of fighters there needs to be like an ebb and flow of just, okay, I'm in camp, train hard, great performance. Let's go ahead and just coast for a bit, relax, recover my body, get my mind right, enjoy life, and then come back. Yep. Some people are built like that, and some people are like Donald Cerrone, fucking fight me every week. I'm here, so. But great performance by Hermanson. Then you got Paddy Pimblett versus Jordan Leavitt.
Yeah.
I mean, a little bit of and look, I'm going to split hairs with this a little bit. I'm going to say that the little bit of the groundwork has been laid out. If you want to beat Paddy Pimblett, press him to the fence.
Oh, the groundwork.
Not a lot of activity.
Out. Go back and watch. Oh my God, I've lost his name. The wrestler, the Viking. Oh, what's his name? Soren Bach. Thank you very much. Soren Bach showed how to beat Paddy Pimblett. Press him in the cage, take him down, frustrate him, ground and pound, do it again the next round. But Paddy is an explosive fighter. He is. He's an explosive guy. And in this, I thought that Jordan had his moments. He was winning that entire first round right up until the end. And man, I'll tell you what, when Paddy had the chance, he went after him and he was trying to finish him. He was putting it on him. And so you look and you go, that's what I expect out of a guy when you don't have everything going for you. When you get your moment, hey, show me what you got. And he did. And then second round, he just came out and he dominated the action of it until he got this submission. And hey, that's what he's supposed to do.
Yeah. No, he came through in the clinch. He did exactly what he was supposed to do. He was trying to capitalize on certain positions. He kind of gave up some positions, but he did a good job. He's got to work on turning himself off the cage, though. He allowed himself to be pressed against the fence. He got taken down a couple times.
He has a hard time with head position.
Yeah.
He tends, you see his head getting pushed out, and you go, come on, man. I know that they're teaching you about how to get your head right and help get you off of the cage here, but I give it up. He got a submission against a guy in Jordan who is known for a submission game. That's really where Jordan, has made his bones. He's got a couple of knockouts, but Jordan is a submission guy, and he submitted a guy that knows what he's doing. And that, look at when he body triangled and he had that arm caught, you went, oh, you're in trouble because you only got one arm to defend with. It's a bitch. I'm
surprised he didn't try to fight out, get that arm free a little, because he had his arm trapped there for a while.
Oh yeah, but it was not on the triangle side, which makes it rough. It makes it rough to get that thing free, especially as high up as he had it. Because if you have it on the forearm or the wrist area, you can kind of get your arm out. When it's up off the elbow and right above that elbow, that's a bitch.
Yeah, I agree. All right, so you've got Krylov versus Gus. Did you hear the comments made by DC?
Yeah, I did. And it's a tough one, and it's you don't know, and DC
Do you agree?
Doesn't know. No, I don't. But I this is why I don't agree. He got hurt in the beginning of that fight. He took a big shot. He was able to try to get himself back, but he never was able to recover. And it wasn't a big shot that ended up putting him down, but it was clean and it hit him. And you saw the jolt in his head that it was a very short, crisp shot. It can happen to anyone.
Yeah. And
Krylov, we've always known, look, Nikita he's got power in his hands. He's a good stand-up fighter. And so, yeah, it's a loss. And Alexander's had quite a few losses in a row. He's not that guy that, we built him up as far as his name and where he was at and how he was fighting. It hasn't gone well for him in the recent fights, but that doesn't mean that he's done. Now, I would like to see him take some time off from this and get himself collected and everything. But
time off, John, he just took off 2 years.
I know, but he just got knocked out. So that's why I want to see him take a little bit of time off, stay away from the gym for at least 90 days or so, and then come back.
That's fine, yeah.
And if you... he has the ability. He has the ability to win fights. He's good.
I get it.
His boxing's good. His wrestling's actually good. But I have seen a difference in the fact of when he was training, and because he was going to Alliance and he was training with Phil Davis. And his wrestling was outstanding at that point. And it has changed. He's not as good with it.
No.
And so he needs to, I'm not saying he has to go back and train with Phil, but he needs to have somebody in there that's making him work in that same capacity that Phil Davis was making him work, several years ago.
I agree. I'm not going to say that he should be done only based on the fact that he took a long time off, his first fight back. Shit like this happens.
Yeah, not an easy fight either.
I did notice that he didn't look as fast. He was getting pushed around quite a bit. His wrestling wasn't there. Like you said, there were some exchanges there where he kept dipping his head.
Yep.
When you're the taller fighter, you shouldn't have to dip your head that low. The little things. But that could be also 2 years of ring rust. I believe it's 2 years. Can you click on Gus?
No, it's close.
I believe it was. Yeah, I think it was 2 years.
Yeah.
But anyways, when was the last time he fought before this last fight?
2020.
Oh, 2020. Yeah, 2
almost
years.
to the day.
Yeah.
Almost to the day. Yeah. So it's just and if you go scroll down there, buddy. Scroll on his record. Scroll down. Yeah, so he's got 4 losses in a row. But look who he's lost to. John Jones, Anthony Smith, Fabricio Verdum, Nikita Krylov.
Yep.
It's not like he's fighting slouches. John Jones, are you fucking kidding me?
I mean, he's 35 years of age. It's not like he's old. He's right at that point where you go, maybe he may not make it back to a title fight or something, but he still could. You know, if he was able to string some fights together, but he's not old. He's in the prime.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's the tail end of the prime.
Well, take a look. You know, the 2 wins that he has in there back to back, Jan Blachowicz and Glover Teixeira. 2 guys that held the title.
Yeah. Yeah, he was a lot more active, though, at
Yeah.
that time.
Yeah.
And his output was more. I mean, in that fight with Glover, fuck, it was a great fight.
Yeah.
Fuck, that was a great fight. We were watching it all at, that was the day that DC got married. We were all at the wedding watching the fucking fight before.
Look,
right,
his fight against DC. That was a close fight.
It was.
He had DC in trouble at times.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, but he did.
you know,
Yeah, he needed fucking DC right in the face.
nice one right under the eye right there.
Yeah. Cut the shit out of him. All right, next fight.
Back here.
Try to wake up.
Going
buddy.
backwards. Molly McCann against Hannah Gold. Molly McCann's on fire, man. Meatball Molly. We are both homers for Meatball Molly. We love her. She's a sweetheart of a person. But 2 spinning elbow knockouts in a row? Come on, baby. Come on.
John,
I don't care if you're a homer or not. You got to be impressed.
John, I came on this show, we did our midweek show last week. And I'm like, don't expect to get the same type of knockout.
No.
Fuck, she proved me wrong.
Yeah,
Jesus. I was like, hey, don't try and force that type of situation. And she fucking went out there and said, I'll show you, Josh Thompson.
She didn't force it,
I'll
though.
show you. No, she didn't. She didn't.
You know, there was
perfect
the
timing.
opening, and she decided to go, and man, she made it freaking happen.
She's fun.
Yeah.
She's fun. She's a fun person.
She's fighting way smarter now than she was when she first got into the UFC. When she first got in the UFC, she was fighting and she was making a lot of big mistakes. She was trying to force things like you were talking about and overextending at times, getting herself, out of position. She's not doing that. She's pressing. She's putting pressure on people, but she's really not overextending. She's not making those big mistakes. Little things here and there tighten up, but man, she's really fighting well. And I know that she called out, I think, not Valentina, but her sister Shevchenko, Antonia Shevchenko to fight, which is, hey, I think that's actually a good matchup. And then, Shevchenko's coming off of a win. It was a close fight, but it was a win. And so I think that's a good matchup, good call out. Maybe the UFC will do it.
We'll see. But tip our hats to you, Molly. Meatball Molly.
Meatball Molly.
She's not looking so meatball these days.
No,
she's looking a little
up,
trimmer.
man. Yeah.
We saw her in Ireland, and she was looking pretty lean back then before her last fight. I was like, holy shit, you're not meatball anymore.
Yeah, no meatballs in her.
Get rid of that name.
Yep.
So, but congratulations to her. And next fight, Volkan Ozdemir versus Paul Craig.
This is the one that made Podcast Dave cry right here.
Here's the thing, though, John. I wanted to ask you about this fight.
Yeah.
The reason why I wanted to ask you about this fight, I had Paul Craig winning round 1 and 2. It was close. I'm not mad at it. Here's the thing. He attacked a lot of the submissions in round 1.
Mm-hmm.
And he had Ozdemir in some trouble in that round. He did take some shots towards the end, but it wasn't anything that dropped him, put him on his back. I just think when the judges are watching him, anytime he got hit and then he got into the clinch and then just fell to his back, it just doesn't look good.
That's the whole story right there. It's the way he looks in the fight. He's trying to get the fight to the ground no matter what. I don't care if I'm on my back. But when a guy is hitting him and it's not a solid shot, but you're going down, it doesn't look good for the judges.
Yeah.
And the judges, some of them are saying, oh, you got hurt. You got hurt, even when he wasn't hurt. And I agree. The first round, I thought he had a good attack. The heel hook was not that good. You could see that the leg was too far past. He was trying to suck it back. You saw him actually try to jump in and suck the leg back up.
Yeah.
He's got to use those moments, those times, instead of trying to hold on to something that he knows, I don't think I'm going to get this. Get yourself to the top position and start working from there.
Man, I was so frustrated.
He's making bad decisions of trying to hold on to something that is not going to work. And we're all going to sit there and tell him, dude, 99% chance that's not going to work. 99%. Don't go for the one. Go for, let's get to the top position and let's now start over and work from here. You have a huge advantage over your opponent. He never did that. And that was a big difference in the fight.
Yeah, he uses so much effort on some of these fights that he looks like he just slows down so much when he gets back to his feet.
Gets tired.
And then he doesn't want to wrestle, and like I was fucking screaming at the TV going, get on top. What are you doing? Like he's hanging onto the ankles and the legs and I'm like, just go on top. Make him
every
carry
time
your
he
weight.
entwines that leg.
Yeah.
Every time you have the ability to work to coming on top. You know that. And he never is even looking in that direction. He's got to change that part up of it. Look, if you don't have that submission right now, but you have that entanglement, then let's scramble towards that top position. And it will change the game for him. If he's in the top position, he's going to be able to control the pace, control his opponent, slow himself down, get his air, look for the submission. He's fun to watch. I enjoy watching him.
Yes.
Because he goes for it. He does take some big shots at times. And you look and you go, God damn, dude, you're going to get starched by one of these. You cannot leave your chin sitting on the floor with a guy on over the top of you and you have both hands on his leg. You've got to defend a little bit, but goddamn, he's fun to watch.
He doesn't have defense on the feet either. His head doesn't move offline. He keeps his head directly in front. I love watching him fight. Like, I agree with you. He's one of those fighters that are just, he takes shots, but he's going for his stuff. And I like that. I like the guy that leaves it out there, but he's, for Christ's sake, learn how to get on top. Like, John, there was moments, I kid you not, I was like, what are you doing?
Oh, dude, I did the same thing.
Go on top.
I'm like, God
go on top.
damn it, would you just use it as a sweep? What?
Yeah, drove me nuts.
No.
Nope. All right, what next fight?
Oh, my God. Klein against Mason Jones. I tell you what, that Klein is good. He just
tough.
Just systematically took over that fight from the first round. He won every round of that fight, won it pretty handily and going away at the end and stuff. So, he looked good. I like Mason Jones as a fighter. He did not fight a smart fight against Klein in this one, in my opinion.
The next fight was How do you say his name?
Daikesi? Yeah.
Boring fight.
Yep.
Takedown. It reminded me of Jason Jackson and Douglas Lima. I was like, oh shit.
Yep.
And then and I watched the whole thing too, thinking that something exciting was gonna happen.
Nathaniel Wood against Charles Rosa.
Wood looked fucking good.
Oh, that second round,
great.
He was put. Yeah, hold it. And this is, I remember seeing a line that Charles Rosa put out there. I'm gonna smash this guy's face in. Watch. And I was watching that second round. I went, man, that smashing is going in the opposite direction, dude. This kid is all over you.
Those calf kicks came in play early in that fight. It was only like 2 of them or whatever, and you could see that Rosa was just having
damage,
problems.
Though.
Yeah, he was having problems. He couldn't put weight on it. He had to switch his stance. That changed how he got in on the takedowns. All of that made a big difference on him getting into the clinch, trying to get this fight to the ground.
Yep.
And Wood just looked phenomenal with his combinations. He kind of always finished with the calf kick. Just nicely done. Great work. Clean, crisp stand-up. Good takedown defense. I thought he looked phenomenal. And I believe he was at 135, right? Now this is his first fight at 145.
Yes. Yep.
So good call on him, man. Good job, buddy. Good job. Way to change up your career. Things like that. Now, you may have some issues, as you start to fill into that 145 position with that weight, start putting a little bit more muscle on, because he did look a little bit smaller than Rosa.
Yeah, he was smaller.
The speed was on point.
I was going to say,
accuracy,
he looked smaller,
and speed.
But you talk about who was faster and just was a huge difference maker. The speed between the two was evident, and Charles Rosa just could not keep up. Everywhere he was a step behind, then 2 steps behind, and it was Charles Rosa's tough dude, man. You got to give it to him for hanging in there in that fight. And again, it's not easy when you're being the nail. Charles Rosa, tough as hell.
What other fights on here did you want to talk about?
Jonathan Pierce looked really good against a guy that I think is a good fighter in Amir Khani. Getting that finish in the second round, that was really nice. I'm going to go all the way.
Makhaev is good.
Yeah, he is. Boy, his wrestling is fucking.
His stand-up looked pretty damn good as well, though, John.
Yeah, no, it did.
He came out early in that first round.
He puts pressure on people, man.
He came out, had some good stand-up with the pressure. was trying to get Johnson to engage. Couldn't get him. Johnson's back was against the fence. Kept tripping over the fence because he was on his bike, moving left to right. This Makaev kid's going to be good.
Yeah, he is
good.
Nicholas Dalby I enjoy watching Nicholas Dalby fight.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he's had a couple of fights outside of the UFC that, you know, he had the fight. I'm trying to think of what was the guy's name. He's in Bellator. I can't think of it. But
click on Dalby for us there.
It was a fight where it was stopped by Mark Goddard for blood. He called it a draw.
Oh Jesus!
No, dude, he had no choice. It was great.
Draw,
You said in
no
Bellator?
contest.
No, it was
In Bellator?
yeah, no. It was in
UFC.
No.
Darren
Was it?
Till.
No, it was no. It
What was
was
a majority draw?
Cage Warriors,
Cage
and he
Warriors.
fought.
You say.
No, keep going up. Go up. Right there. No, stop.
Wait, what do you mean
stop,
up?
Stop.
Yeah,
Stop.
every time.
Okay, you the other way from me. God damn it. I'm not seeing the name.
I'm looking for a doctor stoppage.
No.
Unsafe
You gotta-
surface, is that?
Yeah,
No.
unsafe surface. That was it.
That one. Ross Houston.
Ross Houston, there it is. Who fights in Bellator? That was for a championship fight. They were both bleeding so much, and because Cage Warriors uses the vinyl,
Yeah.
surface, they were slipping like it was ice skating, and then neither one could stand up. They would throw a punch and fall down. Finally, Mark Goddard called it and said, "No contest. I'm not letting these guys go on. Someone's going to blow out a knee or something just by falling." But
Yeah.
I enjoy watching him fight. Nicholas Dalby's got a karate stance. That dude's tough as hell, and he survived a lot of good stuff on the ground. He's not, known for his ground fighting, but he's absolutely gotten much better at it, and got a big win against Claudio Silva. And I thought that was a good fight. It was fun to watch. Silva won the first round, and then Dalby came in, put more pressure, got some shots in there, started taking over. Fun guy to watch.
Yeah. John Fitch fought in PFL, and we were in Dayton. What was it called?
Daytona.
Daytona. And it was raining, and they had the outside, and they have the vinyl on for PFL, or they did. I don't know if they still do.
Yeah.
But I think someone blew their knee out in one of them.
Yeah.
The guy stepped back, and his leg slid out from underneath him. His knee buckled inward. I was like, oh, shit. Nasty.
Yeah.
Nasty. But I mean, John was out there just trying to wrestle and get guys down. Got the ninja choke on him. But it was one of those fights that guys were just sliding around, shooting. John shot a double leg and slid in from like 5 feet away. I was like, shit. This is not safe. I'm surprised.
Probably the fastest that John Fitch has ever got into someone there because of the slick mat.
Fastest he ever looked in his whole life.
That's awesome.
All right, hey, that's going to wrap up our UFC talk. Now we're going to go to some news. Podcast Days has a couple things for us on the news.
So I'm actually just going to hit you with this one, and then we'll wrap up. So just so everybody knows.
Wait, I have Dave, we never talked about the Nate Diaz-Chimaev fight.
Josh, if you let me finish my point, I'll get there.
Jesus.
Okay?
I don't want to
So there were about 4 or 5 decent fights announced, a couple of really big ones, obviously. And so what we're doing this week is we're putting those onto Wing Interjection to give quick who and hows, who win, how they're going to win, quick takes before we obviously do full fight previews closer to those actual fights happening. So make sure you guys click the link below for the Wing and Extra channel so that you can see the quick takes on previewing these fights.
And yeah, that's not on Wayne Interjection. That's on 5-round main
5
event.
round.
Excuse me, 5-round main event.
Made a mistake.
Yeah,
Caught him.
Dave. It's been asleep all day.
All right.
Nice job there,
Control
Josh.
Over there. Yeah.
This one came to you guys on Twitter, and it was by the way of Jason Kirsch asking, wonder if the real Punk or John McCarthy could actually answer the question of if Dillon Danis is going to fight. Just curious since he likes to call out people's performances so much. And that was replying to a tweet from Dillon Danis saying, Paddy is actually terrible. I expected more from him. I'd finish him in under a minute.
Okay, let's think. Paddy Pimblett is a 155-pound fighter. Is Dillon Danis a 155-pound fighter? Why are you calling out a 155-pound fighter?
He hasn't even made 170 yet.
Thank you. He was a 185er. Right? I mean, unbelievable. First off, at least let me just put it this way. Paddy Pimblett fights.
Yeah.
Pull up Dillon Danis' record. All
please don't.
two fights of it. No,
John,
I gotta see.
John, please don't.
No, I gotta see because
I don't want to see that. I don't want to see this shit.
he signed to Bellator, and I hope they just let him go because he doesn't fight. There's no reason to even have him on a contract. Why? His last fight was in 2019 against Max Humphrey. All right, you haven't fought anybody. You don't fight. All you do is call people out. You do these things on social media. Dillon, either you're a fighter or you're a keyboard warrior. I'm just being honest. If that's 2019 your last fight, you're becoming the keyboard warrior.
He sucks. Like I don't even want to talk about him because I'm just giving him too much time. I mean, he doesn't fight. He calls everybody out, talks shit about everybody. Like, talks shit about the announcers, talks shit about the fighters, talks shit about, and then in the meantime, he's out at the clubs getting choked out by bouncers.
Yeah,
shut up, dude.
Yeah.
If you're not fighting, how long did you say you're gonna finish Paddy Pimblett in under a minute? How long did it take the bouncer to fucking finish you? Yeah. It's like, I feel like as soon as that happened, Bellator should have been offering that bouncer a contract. Pulled your contract.
I like that.
You're out of here, buddy. You lost. The UFC when I had signed with them, right? It was a long time before I had my first fight with them because I kept getting hurt.
And so you kept fighting on the streets.
Yeah.
Okay.
So then I had to get a fight somewhere else. So I fought Rob McCullough in the WFA. But Joe Silva says, "Hey, that's a tough fight. If you lose that fight, your contract's void with us."
Yeah.
Well,
goodbye.
Dillon Danis, you lost a fight to a bouncer. You're done, bro. Contract's void. Maybe we'll sign the bouncer. I'm done with you, buddy. You're not fighting. I always see him on like his social media. He goes, "Hey, yeah, if first person to retweet this or whatever it is, I'll give you $5,000." You're just buying? What are you doing? You're buying your followers? What are you doing? Like, come on, dude. That's really what it's come down to. How sad is that? Sad.
He has talent. As a grappler, he's incredibly talented.
So does the bouncer.
Well, this is what Booze will do. Booze will take that black belt and drop it down to the white belt category.
I wonder if he was telling the bouncer to, "Hey, Google me before he got choked out."
Please don't say that. That's embarrassing.
Do you know who the fuck I am? Google me.
Yeah, Google me. Here, let me choke you, then I'll Google you. All right, Dave, what else?
I hope we let him go. That's going to wrap up our show today. Make sure you guys check out our 5 rounds main event on the link below. That'll take you to our Weighing In Shorts channel. Go to weightinpodcast.com. Pick up some of our merch. Got all the things available for you. You don't need long sleeves and short sleeve sweaters right now, but you do need t-shirts. We have those. We also have coffee mugs. Check them out. We got our 5 round main event t-shirt that just dropped. We also got the hashtag and steel and the high size 50/50, which I wore all day yesterday. Got a lot of love for it too, which is funny because everyone's like, "Wait, is it really 50/50?" I was like, "No, guys, it's hindsight 2020. You guys didn't know that?"
I wore that and still, and I like it. And for everyone out there in Tacoma, Washington that was wearing our stuff, thank you very much, man. We appreciate you supporting. Everyone out there that is not wearing our stuff, you need to go, as Josh just told you, to the Weighing In channel. Get either a t-shirt.
Weighing In Podcast. WeighingInPodcast.com.
Podcast.com. As far as that, get a t-shirt, represent, and we will see you.